Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160EN podcast. This is podcast number 27, and we got another good one for you today. But first, let's get to the panel. I'm joined here with my boy Steph. Steph, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. I got scared a little bit with yesterday's game. We were down 2-0, but somehow, I felt pretty good. I felt like, you know what, we're going to come back in the second half, and I have no doubts about it. That's how confident I am about my team now. Even if we're down 2-0, I felt like, you know what, no problem. I trust my team. I'm feeling really good, and we did.
Yeah, man, perfect. And Patrick, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good as well. Obviously, as Steph mentioned, with the game last night, it was looking like it'd be an interesting scenario for us had they lost. But there's just a nice mood in the camp right now, and a little bit of confidence in us that gave us the win essentially. So I'm very happy with the way Sporting are playing at the moment. So we'll undoubtedly get into some of that during the podcast. But yeah, very happy with how things are going.
Benny.
I think he's muted himself, hasn't he?
And so before we get into the games, just a quick note on something that touched all of us Liège fans, the new Vitória FC, Vitória Setúbal. He recently diagnosed with which is all the best to him and his present battle, present fight. We hope in the news it's nothing but good news, and that he conquers this battle of his moving forward. Anyways, we're gonna start off from this midweek Europa League fixture. Sporting beating Vorskla 3-0. Our first only clean sheet under Kaiser. A very heavily rotated team. None products coming in afterwards affected the performance at all. Anyways, let me go through the 11. It was Roman Salan in net. We had Marcos Cunha, André Pinto, Sebastian Coates, and Ristovski in defense. We had a midfield of Pedro Luiz and Bruno Fernandes with Jovan Cabral, Montero, and Mané. And then substitutions of Bruno Page, Pedro Marques, and Terry Correa. Steph, I'll start with you. Go into as much detail as you want myself, because it was pretty straightforward. But what did you think of the game?
I did actually watch the game. I was away from home. I was in the custom school, and luckily they let us go early. So I was, I think, the first one out the door. I speed up to my car in the parking lot, and then just drove like a maniac all the way to the hotel. And then I was able to hook it up, the game from my computer to the hotel TV. And then I was watching the game. The game was actually pretty good game. We had a lot of changes. But, I looked at the lineup and I said, well, the team looks really great, actually. I'm like, Salah, I trust him. André Pinto, he's proven he's pretty good. Cunha, Coates, and Stefan Ristovski came back. That's even better. Then Bruno Fernandes, always very needed midfield to move the ball around. Petrovic, I'm okay with him playing the sixth position at Trinco. And then Miguel Luiz, a very pleasant surprise. So we started pretty good. We most definitely, with the 4-3-3 tactic that Kaiser implemented, our team is very dominant. When we have the ball, we're in full control of the pitch, and it's just showing that the players like it, love the new system that our coach has brought to to Alvalade, and us fans, we also love it. You can see happiness, you can see smiles on their faces, you can see a more beautiful football, more offensive football, and that's what I've always wanted from Sporting. I never liked the way Peseiro played. Each coach has their preferences of tactics, and Peseiro was more defensive. He liked to score one goal and drop the lines and play defensively. Our coach, not quite. Kaiser, like he said, he'd rather win by 3-2 than 1-0, and that speaks volumes. Because if we lose, I hope we never lose ever again. But someday it's going to happen. Later than the later the better, of course. But I wanna lose with our team playing well and scoring a lot of goals and so on. But I really doubt that it's going to take us a while to lose a game because the way we're playing, full of confidence and so on, we're going to be just in very good shape. Montero in this game, I'll talk about a few players, was a phenomenal player. He got hurt. I don't like that. They said maybe he'll stop for a month. His left ankle, his right ankle, I believe. Besides that, Miguel Luis, what an awesome young player. I mean, he's only 19. Have you guys realized that? He's only 19 years old, and he plays like he's been playing with the 18 forever. So, Carlos Mané, you can tell he lacks some confidence, but to regain the confidence, he needs to play. So Kazri knows what he's doing. He gave him the starting job and he played for 90 minutes, and that's the only way he will regain his confidence. But you could see he lacks a bit. Certain plays from Miguel Luis, from Bruno Paz, when he came in the second half, they gave him some phenomenal passes, and he just couldn't get to the ball, and it shows that he's afraid of getting hurt again, perhaps, because his last injury was a long one, and I think he needs to regain the confidence of, let me play the way I used to play. I'm not going to get hurt, and forget about that. Pleasant surprise with Pedro Marques. He's also very young, 19 or 20. I think he's 20, about to be 21. So, Pedro Marques will take him. You could see he was very anxious, and that kind of hurt him a little bit because he could have scored in this game, but he didn't. But he played a few minutes, so now he knows the feeling of playing at that international level, which is very important for these young players. And Bruno Paz, I mean, amazing. I'm not going to say that he gave me like a few visions of how Williams, the Carvalho, used to play when he was in our team, but I liked it. I very much liked it, and he could be our next William Carvalho. Certainly, I would rather see him than Petrovic or Bruno Cesar. Nothing against him, Denny. Don't jump on me yet. But
we'll talk about more in a bit.
Yeah. But I'm going to wrap it up, and then the last but not least, I'm not going to talk about Acuna. We know how phenomenal he is and the stability he brings to the left wing. We saw that yesterday. Without Acuna, holy shit. I mean, I almost broke my phone. But Thierry Correia, another great right back. So,
Right back,
yeah, the right. The only bad thing is he's got Vitovsky and Gaspar, and they both playing so. But all it takes is one of them to get hurt, and there he is. Now it's his spot. So, and that's all I got to say. It was a phenomenal game. I love the fact that we finished with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players from the academy. We finished with Thierry Correia, Miguel Luis, Carlos Mané, Pedro Marques, Giovanni Cabral, and Bruno Paz. 6. So again, for the winter market, should we buy a couple players? Yes, but just a couple. Just a couple. We don't have to spend a lot of money because we have the solutions, and we still have the Miral, we still have Chico Geraldes, we still have Matheus Pereira. So we have a lot of solutions. Let's not waste money that we don't have, actually. And that's all I got to say about this game. Phenomenal game. I loved it.
Patrick, how about your thoughts of the game?
Yeah, it was a good performance, and as you say, sometimes when you come into a cup game and you bring in a lot of players that are on the fringes or just not in the first team plans, and you mesh them together. We saw with Pereira, even with his strongest sides, sometimes the end result isn't great, and the team chemistry just isn't up to the standards that we usually see. But I thought the team connected quite well with that in mind. And it showed in the result. You know, we blitzed it in the first half with 3 first half goals. Of course, there were some starters in there anyway, like Acuna and from then Freddie Montero was starting not too long ago as well. But yeah, it was very pleasing to see lots of fringe players and youngsters come into the team and show that, you know, they've got the quality as well under this 4-3-3 regime to contribute. And I was particularly pleased to see what Miguel Luis was able to do from the middle of the park. And once again, just on Sunday last night, I thought he did very well. So if you can combine the two performances, I think he's a player who stood out. If you combine the two performances that Miguel Luis put up, I think he's a very interesting candidate to replace Vendel in that box-to-box role. So yeah, look, I think we can only take positives from a 3-0 victory against Portugal, having chopped and changed so much. So yeah, everything's just nice and rosy at the moment at Sporting, and it's nice. It's nice to be in this sort of position. Hopefully, we can go on and do very well in this tournament. We've got obviously a tricky draw against Villarreal, but you know, looking at the way we're playing at the moment, and I know February is a long time away, I'm quietly confident as to what levels we can reach by the time we get to February.
Yeah, exactly. And if we even get the right enforcement, the right signings in January, we can definitely do some damage. I'm with you. I'm also quietly confident. Yeah, I agree with both of you. Really, there's nothing much more for me to say. I thoroughly enjoyed the I guess total domination. I really, going through the highlights, there was barely any chance that Vorskla had. They really only had one chance, and it went super over the bar. So you know, and for us to rotate the team this much and for it to still pan out this well, positive signs. And like Steph said, an honorable mention to Montero, who worked his socks off and showed us his quality. And it's a shame that he's gone for a month. But I mean, the silver lining is Pedro Marques didn't look that bad either. He was maybe a bit offside a few too many times for my liking, but you know, that gets corrected with age and experience. And but anyways, let's go on to. I wrote down a list of a few names of players. I think that for the most part, the fan base and possibly even us are undecided or you know, haven't really seen much of them, but might have our own opinions on them. First, I'm going to ask you guys, Carlos Mené. As Steph mentioned, you know, he just back from a long-term injury. I agree, Steph, he is. It seems like he's playing scared, like he doesn't want to get hurt again. Do you think we should keep him? Do you think we should replace him, loan him out, maybe to a smaller team for him to gain that confidence back? Do you think all is done? And do you think that really he has the qualities to improve the team, whether that's a starting role, which I think for now it's unlikely, or coming off the bench, he still has a role to play? Steph, I'll throw it off to you. Thoughts on Carlos Mené?
That's a very good point. Because we I don't know, you know, I mean, I don't even know what to say because I like Carlos Mené. And now your question is a tough one for me, porque eu sou suspeito. when you like a player, you have the tendency to say, yes, let's keep him. Let's give him another chance. But let's put it this way: his window is getting smaller and smaler because I can't expect me as a Cosmonet fan, of course, sou Sportingista, é óbvio, senão nem estava aqui a falar. I can't expect Cosmonet to block Giovanni, for example. Giovanni now his potential is tremendous. Or Rafinha. So I think he's going to have to wait his chance. But I think Sporting should let him go if he wants to go in January. If when the window opens and then if he says, hey, I would like to play more minutes and I want to go back to, for example, Germany, where he came from, then we should let him go. Yeah, and that's my take on Manet. I think me personally, I think he should be playing in the. We don't have a B team anymore. That's what sucks about not having a B team because he's over 23. But we should loan him out or sell him. But he's not going to regain his confidence and form if he's not playing. Practicing is not the same as playing. And that's all I gotta say. But I don't want him to mess up the evolution of Giovanni Cabral and Matheus Pereira if he does come back in January, and Rafinha. Diaby he's playing pretty well too. So cut him loose. Cut him loose.
Yeah, fair enough. And Patrick, my next player to you is Petrovic. I've kind of grown to like him a bit more and more throughout this season. I know you've been singing some of his praises as well. What do you think of Petrovic, though? Do you think we should maybe still replace him, or for at least the time being in this season, maintain him within the squad and stuff like that?
No, I do believe we probably we should definitely invest in a defensive midfielder in January, and obviously I think that would shift a guy like Petrovic out, because then you've also got Bataglia, who's a different type of defensive midfielder to what we need. But I think 2 defensive midfielders should be enough to cover you for the season. So in terms of long-term planning, I reckon it makes sense that you cut a guy like Petrovic, because I'm not sure although he is a decent player, you get what sort of player he is. I think Sporting, perhaps with him, have to bite the bullet and just realise that he's just not a Sporting defensive midfielder. He's not the defensive midfielder that I think Sporting really needs. He might do a good job for a lesser team, someone like Rio or Guimarães, teams like that, and downwards. But for Sporting, I think he's lacking, and for the salary that he's reported to be on, I think Steph said just a minute ago that Sporting are a club that need to sell, and just like every other club in Portugal. So I think it'd be helpful to begin trimming there. He's shown positive signs, but I still think he's not close to being good enough for what Sporting require. So yeah, easy decision for me. I would certainly be looking to move him on.
Fair enough. I also agree with you there. Another name I put down. I think we'll all agree that he's better to come off the bench. He's not really a starter, but I wrote down André Pinto because I see a bit of criticism towards André Pinto. But he played well against Vorskla. I think against Guimarães or even against Rio Ave, and Guimarães will have a run out because Coates, if I'm not mistaken, is got an accumulation of yellows. So he won't be playing against Guimarães. And then, of course, for Rio Ave, that's Portugal. I'm assuming Kaiser's going to rotate a bit more. But, Steph, I'll give this one quickly to you. André Pinto, do you think he still... Do you think maybe some Sportingistas have been a little too harsh on him? Or
Yes, most definitely. I have no doubts about that because Sportingistas, and I guess it's the same thing in every club. It's not only Sportingistas. We, in general, I'm a Sportingista, and that's the what I follow the most. You've known me for quite a while now, and you know I follow soccer, football, the ladies, handball, hockey and patins. I follow everything. But if you talk to your friends in Canada, like I talk to my friends here in the United States, when they speak about the NBA or the NFL or the MLB, baseball, everyone kind of agrees on one thing. We barely attack our stars, the ones we like. You barely hear someone say something bad about LeBron James, for example, because he's the star of the team. And us Portuguese, we quite the same. So we tend to look for an scapegoat. So it's easy to criticize, and sometimes the criticism is well deserved. Like yesterday, Jefferson deserved the criticism. But sometimes, like André Pinto, it's easy to criticize him. And why am I saying that? Because I've seen Coates make huge mistakes. I've seen Mathieu make huge mistakes. And we kind of zip it. We kind of allow it. We kind of don't say much. But when it's André Pinto, we all of a sudden expect perfection from him. And, you know, I like him. I think he's like we say in the Portuguese gíria, é certinho. He's not that amazing center back, but he doesn't complicate things. He's a good backup. And that's what he is, a backup. And he has accepted that role. So, yes, Danny, I totally agree with you that us Portuguese were too harsh on him.
Yeah. And now I'm going to get into the 4 academy players that played, and I want to ask you guys your opinions on them. Obviously, of the Vorskla game, but for some of them, like Thierry Correia and Miguel Luis, we've seen a few of their performances. But Patrick, in terms of Thierry Correia, this Vorskla game, and as well as the last, I think against Karabag, you also had a little cameo as well. What do you make of the young right back?
Well, I like that he's versatile. That he's got all the right attributes to be quite successful at fullback at the highest level. Highest level just being top flight football. So yeah, he's someone that Sporting could essentially look to make a pathway for him to come into the side. Especially knowing that Sporting aren't the strongest at fullback at the moment. But, you know, at the same time, it is still very early to be making those sorts of predictions, whether he will or won't do well for Sporting. But I think he warrants the chance. He's hit all the right notes, at the youth level, both with Portugal and with Sporting. So I don't think he's done too badly either when he's been called upon for the first team. I think he's certainly a player that we need to keep tabs on. Who knows what happens in January, but I certainly think in terms of his stock and the interest surrounding the player, I see it increasing and increasing to the point where we could potentially start considering, maybe moving a Rostovski out of the way or a Bruno Gaspar out of the way to see how he challenges as the backup right back. I think he's beginning to knock on that sort of level for Sporting, which is good for him and what you'd expect from a club that promotes youth and is very proud about its traditions, like Sporting is.
Steph, is Pedro Marques. If I'm not mistaken, this is his first senior game. I'm pretty sure it's not, or it is his first senior game. He got caught off. He got off at a first on one or two of them.
Alô? Então,
Lost you guys. Hello, hello.
não pagaste o bill, meu? Alô?
Hello, hello, hello.
Já estou a ouvir.
Yeah, you guys. Hello.
You keep unmuting yourself. Patrick?
Yep.
Okay, I think we lost Denny.
Yeah.
He didn't pay his internet bill.
Yeah.
So let me see something. Let me ask. So you was asking about the Pedro Marques. I don't know if he's still live or not. So let me ask these guys on the chat. You can hear me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're still live. Okay, thank you, Hugo. Hugo just answered back. So basically, about Pedro Barbosa, he's a young player, and you could see that he basically was a bit nervous, and which is expected. He replaced Montero at minute 68 when Montero came out hurt, and hopefully it's not a really severe injury. I hope not. But when he came in, I don't think he was expecting it. So when he came in, he was very excited, and I was excited too to see such a young player being able to come in and play for his club, which he's been doing all his life since he's been a iniciado. I mean, he started at Sporting since he was a little boy, so he knows what it takes to be champion of Sporting Portugal, because he's been a champion of Sporting Portugal in the youth academy. But I was not expecting him to go into the game and score a hat trick. That's not what I was expecting from him. I was attentively watching him to see his movement, to see if he understood the tactic given by Kaiser. And he did, but he was a tiny bit anxious because he was always offside. He was trying to anticipate the defense, but he's only 19, or I believe 20, and the defense, it was an experienced defense, so they would throw him off all the time, because a couple of times he could have scored, and then he was one-on-one against the goalie, and then the goalie got the best out of him. But I'm expecting great things from this young player, but we have to be patient. That's all. We can expect every single player at 19 years old player to be as mature as Miguel Luis, because he is very mature. Or Bruno Paz, his composure throughout the game showed me that he's ready to play in the A squad. He's got that level of maturity, even though he's only 19. So that's what I gotta say about Pedro Marques. He's a great. I've followed him in the youth league when he was on the juniors, juvenis, iniciados, and he's playing now in the under 23, and he's a very good player, but it requires patience. He's going to be similar to Elder Postiga, for example. He's got the same kind of demeanor and movements, and I think that's the way he's going to be. Hey, Danny, are you back, Danny? Danny.
Hello. Can you guys finally hear me?
Yeah, man. Nu pagaste o bill, pá.
I just went into the fucking matrix of this internet. I'm so sorry for that, guys.
No, that's cool, man. I mean,
Anyways.
if you want a donation, we can ask our listeners.
Buddy, I think fucking Justin Trudeau, our prime minister here in Canada, is a fucking lumpião or something, bro. I don't know what the hell just happened.
I mean, Hugo saved the day because I was like, can somebody hear me? And then Hugo said, yeah, we could hear you, bro.
Perfect. Sorry about that.
And then the real Alpha Karansky, he's like, epa, parece o version of Perdemos o Zé.
I just see that now. But instead of Perdemos o Zé, Perdemos o Daniel. Fuck.
Okay. So I'm done with Pedro Marques, so that's where you left
Pedro Marques, perfect. I was going to ask Patrick what he thought about Bruno Page next, really. So, Patrick, take that away, bro.
Yeah, he's another player who's obviously he seems to have well-rounded, very well-rounded attributes who can possibly play in one or two positions in the future. So he's an interesting player for Sporting to have, and one player who I think Kaiser can utilise in a number of ways, which is always good. It's always good when you're a young player to be versatile. I think he demonstrated his capabilities well against Portugal, and he's yet another player. One of those players that obviously you hear so much of outside of the first team, and he's obviously someone with great potential, and I think he follows the likes of Miguel Luis and Thierry Correia quite nicely in potentially breaking into the first team. He's another one of those that we still have to give time, and one of those players that perhaps has to wait for the right time or opportunity to break into the team. But he's certainly one, again, who Sporting fans and just football fans in general should keep tabs on as an interesting player who one day could really solidify his position in the first team. Hopefully for him it works out, because he did look quite impressive. I think we've lost Danny again, haven't we?
No, do you not hear me? Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Scared me, man. Yeah, I agree. And honestly, well, I'm just gonna transition now to Miguel Luis, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys. That little cameo of, maybe it was half an hour, I can't even remember the exact time now, of Bruno Page entering, really impressed me. He's been impressing me in the B team, but that little cameo really impressed me. And Steph, I'll throw this to you, and I'll even throw it to Patrick after. You think Bruno Page can maybe be better than Miguel Luis, or have you really been liking Miguel Luis? Get into our young starlet there.
They both play. Well, the good thing about Miguel Luis, so I don't know how in depth his type of qualities. He can play any position in the midfield.
Yeah.
So you could say é jogador polivalente. And with that said, him and Bruno Page, they have a great chemistry because they've been playing together for such a long time. So I think Kaiser already saw that. He saw that the chemistry between those two players is phenomenal. So I wouldn't even flirt with the idea of separating them. When the time is due and perfect to do so, try them again together, because they were playing really well together. And that goes without saying that Miguel Luis with Bruno Fernandes, the chemistry was also awesome. Both of them playing together, it's touch and go, touch and go. It was like, wow, it's like they've been playing for a long, long time. But Bruno Paz and Miguel Luis, they have the greatest chemistry, and it's like they talking to each other via telepathy, and that's what I saw when I watch a soccer game. I'm just not watching it for the sake of it. I'm seeing how they talk to each other just by looking at each other, and how they pass the ball to each other, and those five players that six players actually, they grew up together, maybe at different years, but they met at different times and they played together at different times. Giovanni is a year ahead, but we only have to gain by having a coach that believe in youth and will implement them into the A squad little by little and throws them a bone and says, "Hey, I'm gonna let you start this game," like the last game in the Liga Europa, and they responded quite well. They said, "Hey, I'm here, and here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna prove it to you why I deserve to be in the A squad." Because these players, they want to play at Sporting Portugal in the A squad. They don't want to be loaned out. When you get loaned out to different teams, it's a good thing sometimes. But then it's like, when is it going to stop me being loaned out? Because you have players, they still being loaned and loaned and loaned. It's got to be really exhausting. So that's it.
Yeah, for sure. And anyways, I think we can transition now on to the Europa League draw that took place today. We got placed with Villarreal. Just some quick notes on Villarreal. Currently not in the best of league form. They're currently in 17th, tied with Atletico Bilbao, who is in the relegation zone, with 15 points. So league-wise, they're not doing that great. However, in the Europa League, they finished the group undefeated. They tied against Rangers. They beat Spartak Moscow at home, tied 3-3 away in Russia. They beat Rapid Vienna. It was 5-0 on the third fixture, and then drew with them again. In a really tough group. They finished with 10 points. I believe they were tied with, it was Rapid Vienna, also with 10 points. And then they also, like I mentioned, Rangers and Spartak Moscow. They have decent players still. They have Sergio Asensio in net. They have Funes Mori, who used to play for Everton. Of course, we're all aware of Layun of Porto, who also plays there. Mario Gaspar, the right back, plays there. They have Santi Cazorla, who, albeit is past his best years, is still a decent and good player. They have Carlos Baca, who's always a dangerous veteran Colombian striker. They have Sanson, who Sporting, funny enough, are linked with during the summer, an Italian winger. Their form hasn't been the greatest, but they're definitely a team that could cause us some trouble. And of course, it's always tough to face a Spanish team. Patrick, what are your quick thoughts on Villarreal?
Well, firstly, I think it's the easy thing to say is that we certainly could have got a much lighter draw than what we have done. I think Villarreal are a team who are to be respected. They've got very good players, as you said. They're a very technical team with the likes of Cazorla, Manu Trigueros, Bruno Soriano is very good. Pablo Fornals has been linked with many Premier League clubs recently as well. So, it's a dangerous team to come up against at this stage. And of course, come February is a long way away from here. There's lots of games to be played between now and then. And so there's plenty of time for Villarreal to really pick up form and show themselves as a different proposition up against us. I think it will be a very difficult game for Sporting, but certainly Villarreal will be thinking the same thing about us. They're scoring plenty of goals at the moment. We look very good. We look very sharp. Let's see in what shape we find ourselves in come February. when we do meet. But I think it's a very evenly. It's a good matchup. It's a very interesting a draw for both sides, and we'll just gotta wait and see how it all unfolds on the day. But I'm finding it difficult to call between the two sides because there are two teams that obviously have very good players, and you typically find towards the latter stages.
Yeah, agreed. And like you said, it is more favorable than some of the teams we could have drawn, like Inter, like Napoli, like Chelsea.
Yeah, of course, it could have been easier as well, couldn't it?
Exactly.
Those teams. And Spanish teams traditionally do very well in the Europa League.
Exactly. Personally, yeah, I think La Liga is probably. I know everybody talks more about the Premier League, but I think at least La Liga is the best league around. So their league form isn't necessarily indicative of exactly the damage they can do, in my opinion. Steph, anything you'd like to add on what me and Patrick just said?
Yeah, I'm just gonna mention a couple things, but really, also I would like to bring up because some of our followers brought it up in the chat, the goalie situation. So we got to touch on that really fast after this topic. I'm talking about our goalie, of course. But Villarreal is a team to take into account. This is a very experienced team. They have some phenomenal players. They have 3 international Argentine players. They have a Samuel Zukuzi from Nigeria. They have Nicolas Sanson, which I think he was associated to Sporting at one point in the summertime, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, so they have Daniel Bonera. They have from Cameroon, Carl Toko Ikambi. So this is, I know they're not doing well in the Spanish league, but in the Europa League, they haven't lost a game. So we have to be very careful with that. Such a mature, experienced team. I think we could do well against them, but we have to have a perfect game at home. So when we go to Spain, then we can relax and just get a good result in Spain. And with that said, that's all I have to say. And also, I don't think we spoke about the Nacional game, am I right?
No, not yet. That was I was just about to head to it next.
Okay.
I know we kind of rambled on a bit, and then me losing the connection kind of messed up the timing a bit. But anyways, quickly, do you want to touch on the goalkeeping situation really quick before we jump on to Nacional? Or
yeah, I'll touch on it really quickly because it's actually one of the topics I like the most because lately I agree. I think we should give Maxi a chance. Unos Maxi. He's been at Sporting forever. He's been champion of the youth leagues, Campeón Nacional, juniors, if I'm not mistaken. I could Google it, but I'm not going to do it. Juvenis. I know he's been a couple times Campeón Nacional for Sporting in the youth leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Rui Patricio started when he was 19 or 18 with the Paul Bento, when we always stayed in the second place forever. So why not give a chance to Maxi? Give him a chance. If Vivian is not going to stay, then give him a chance.
Yeah, and I don't think that many of us. I don't think any of us here are all that convinced from Renan. I know we sort of defended him a bit and said we've maybe been a bit too harsh or critical on him. But with that being said, I don't think moving forward Renan is Sporting quality per se. So why? Yeah, I agree. Why not take a chance on Maximiano?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, especially I'm interested to see how we attack maybe Taça da Liga and even this Taça Portugal game. Though I think Salem might get a start. I don't know. I think since like you said, since Viviano's probably not going to play or stay, I think we should definitely at least for the cup games give Luis a run out. So yeah. I'm with you there, Steph.
Yeah, I think the next game, para Taça da Liga, if I'm not mistaken, it's
Feirense.
It's Feirense on Thursday, a week from this Thursday coming up.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. So give him that game at least. See how he got. Feirense is a good team at the Mill Street Taveiro. It's the so I would give it to him. I'm excited to see this young player play. I mean, Renan is okay, but I don't think he's good enough for Sporting. Salin is a good backup. So make Maxi your priority. Unless he's not ready, and they know it, and he agrees. At practice, they talk to him and to each other, and then estou pronto, hold on, don't rush me. Then I get it. But if that's not the case, take a risk. Take a risk.
Yeah, I agree. And just my last point on Maxi before we move on to Nacional. The last under-23 game I seen was our draw with Benfica, and though I still think we kind of played better than Benfica, if it wasn't for Luis Max in net, we could have potentially lost that game. He made at least a two memorable saves I can still think of today. So definitely potential's there, and the kid has talent. So I'd roll the dice on him too, Steph. I agree with you.
And just really quickly about the League Europa drawings.
For sure, yeah.
We could have gotten Salzburg of Austria, which is a good team.
Yep.
They went to the final last year, or semi-final. Semi. Yeah. Internacional de Milan, Inter Milan. We could have gotten Leverkusen from Germany, which I think we would have done well with them. Or Napoli.
Tough team still, though. But
or Chelsea, or Valencia, or Sevilla, or Zenit. So we could have gotten some really good teams. So, I don't think it was a bad draw. Anyway, go on.
No, yeah, agreed. Anyways, we'll go on to the game that took place yesterday. Sporting 5, Nacional 2. Closer and a more stressful game than the scoreline dictates. Quickly, I'll go through our 11. It was Renan Ribeiro in net. Jefferson started ahead of red-carded Marcos Acunha. Jeremy Mathieu, Sebastian Coates, and Bruno Gaspar completed that defense. We had Goudelli, Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Cesar starting in midfield with Bas Dost, Nani, and Diaby. Patrick, quick thoughts on the game, man. What did you think?
Well, firstly, I was very surprised to see Nacional come out and play the way they did. They were a bit more expansive than what we will typically see from a smaller club. Admittedly, I haven't seen Nacional play too much this season to know what they're really like. But I was surprised to see that, and there were elements in what Sporting was doing in terms of countering that seemed to indicate a trend, perhaps that a few more teams are going to come up against Sporting and try to be a bit more adventurous, especially in the way that they press and whatnot, because they know that Sporting, despite doing very well at the moment and the results are on their side, they are a side that are still learning to play a specific way, which is the Kaiser way. And I think a lot of teams right now are going to really test Sporting and their confidence with their system, because once they win the ball, I think one of our weaknesses has been our transition from attack to defence. And Nacional really bothered us in the early stages of our game last night. So much so that they found themselves 2-0 up. Our wing-backs have been one of our weaknesses as well. And they exploited that very well, particularly on Jefferson's side. It looks like it would be a very tricky game in those opening 30 minutes. But thankfully, I think the midfield started to help a bit more and kick into gear. We saw Bruno Fernandes particularly start to dictate the game a little bit more, get more involved in the construction. And from then onwards, obviously, perhaps a few Nacional players may have been thinking about settling down a little bit. But I think from then on, Bruno Fernandes leading the team, Sporting started to knock the ball a bit and reassert their dominance as they should. We slowly started to turn the screw. We got the penalty that Dust scored, and then in the second half, the goals once the equaliser came in, the rest followed, and they all smashed through the door. So it was sort of a tale of two halves, and it's certainly nice to start disappointed, but to end up delighted, and that's how I felt at the end. I thought it was a very good response from Sporting. It was a difficult challenge to be 2-0 down, especially against a side like Nacional, who they're down there, so they would have been desperate for the points, and they were just beginning to shut the door on us. We really hit all the right notes in terms of the comeback, and another victory like that, it's going to do us a world of good in terms of confidence. Still lots to work out in terms of how we recover defensively. A few players in there like Coates, I think are still some way away from their best form. We still need to work out on the spacing, how we press teams to win the ball back. I think there's the gap between the defence and midfield is too big, and lots of teams might be wanting to exploit that against us. But all in all, we're doing very well. Sixth win for Kaiser now, 25 goals. That's a fantastic record and something to be pleased with. We saw some very nice football yesterday again. So yeah, all in all, I'm very happy.
Yeah, agreed. And Steph, quickly to you as well. Quick thoughts. Like Patrick just mentioned, that's 25 goals, 6 conceded in 6 games. Whereas Peseiro had 24 goals, and I actually don't know how many conceded in 14. So we're definitely shining offensively. But without getting into too much detail on some of the plays, what were your thoughts on the Nacional Sporting game?
Well, great game, great coaching, and a great victory. Pronto, já está.
Hey, Danny.
Exactly. Sorry, I was in mute and I clicked away real quick. Perfect. Let me get into the.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding, bro. You said really quick, so I did it really quick.
Hey, bro, that was perfect to me, buddy. If you have anything more to say, though, go ahead, bro.
No, man, I won't take much longer. Maybe a minute or so. The game at the beginning, Nacional came in strong, and you could tell that Costinha, he did his homework, and basically when we least expected, we're down 2-0. The goal that was canceled from Bas Dost at minute 18. You guys do know what happened, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened?
In minute 18, that was the offside goal, correct?
Okay, but do you know what happened? Do you know how the decision was made?
I didn't watch the first half, so I missed that part.
Okay. Patrick, do you know what happened?
We only got. I was watching the TV. We only got to see that one replay from Sporting, which was obviously not adequate to see the line. But I didn't see anything after that with regards to how communications to that decision went.
The camera of the angle of that goal was down.
Oh, right.
And then the VAR the VAR couldn't make a decision. So we're not talking much about it because we won the game. But let's say if we needed that goal, we would have been bitching about it. But what happened was one of the cameras with the best angle of the offside was down. So VAR told the Verissimo, we can make the decision for you or tell you what happened because the camera was down. Then they replaced it. So just for you guys to know what happened, that was a clean goal apparently.
So Steph, let me ask you this really quick because I was gonna bring this up, but since you brought it up now, we'll talk about it now. In that case, then doesn't the rule state that the benefit of the doubt goes towards the offense? How come we got that goal disallowed then?
Yeah, I agree, but the rule also says that the referee is the one making the last call. So his call was offside, and he respected the decision by the linesman because he goes by what the linesman sees. Because it's not really the referee; it's a linesman.
Right.
But now we have an extra tool which is called the VAR. But the VAR, and it's something maybe they never thought about. One of the cameras broke down, the one with the best angle, and the VAR, Hugo Miguel, he said it. Epá, não posso tomar a decisão porque daqui não se viu a câmera. Pifou. Right. And it's kind of funny now because we won 5-2. But if we needed that goal, it wouldn't be so funny. Yeah. But anyway, and then like I said it before, Sporting was down to nothing at halftime. I was actually watching my daughter's ballet recital, so I was watching the game on my phone, and it was pitch dark, and I had to be very careful, muting the game and everything. It was kind of funny because people would see me jump, and they wouldn't know why. Because every time we scored, I jumped off the chair, and my wife was like, "Tush maluco, és maluco, pa," because she knew I was watching the game.
Yeah.
So I jumped like 5 times. Go, caralho, go! The good thing is everybody around me was American, so they wouldn't understand when I would say caralho. But so we won 5-2. I was happy, and when the recital was over, I came out of there with a big smile on my face. You have to converse. Great game.
Fair. Since you mentioned that, I was just at my girlfriend's cousin's child's birthday party, and we were driving back when the first half took place, and so we watched the second half at her house and with her mom and everything there. And when Mathieu scored that banger of a free kick, I thought she was a Sportingista with me because we both looked at each other like, "Oh my God, what a goal!" Anyways, let's go into some of the plays. The first goal, Patrick, I'll throw it off to you. Who's at fault for that goal, if anyone's at fault, or was that just a glass? Because you can debate Hernan came off his line way too early. You can debate Mathieu sort of gets lost on where the player is going. How did you see that goal?
I think probably just one of those. It happens, yeah. I know that Hernan doesn't have the biggest support behind him, and it's very easy when a situation like that arises to blame the goalkeeper, and he had a situation like that as well just last week. So it's I don't know. Part of me just wants to sweep it under the carpet a little bit and just classify it as something that happens. That's really my take on it.
Fair enough. Okay, good. I thought I was muted for a second. And then the second goal, Steph, I'll throw it off to you. It's fair to say Jefferson really let us down there. I'd even question maybe Mathieu on letting the guy sort of in easily. No one was really marking him. But what are your thoughts on this second goal?
I mean, it came from the left wing. That's why Jefferson is to blame. I mean,
for sure.
You can't be so passive. He was just ball watching. I mean, you're a defender for a reason, to stop crosses and to stop plays, and that's why Sportingistas are very smart, and we saw that we've seen that his performances are not the same as when he used to play back in the days in Estoril and so on. He's not the same player as he used to be. And how can we compare? It's easy. We have Acuna. When he plays, no problems on the left wing. When Acuna doesn't play, ay Jesus. Yeah. It's like we're biting our nails and ay Jesus. It's always like that. So yeah, he's to blame. Of course, he's to blame. And the cross from the player from Nacional to his play to his colleague inside the box was perfect. And was Mathieu at fault? Maybe he was, but you know what? When the cross is that perfect,
yeah,
goals happen. And Nacional, they won the 2-hour goal like 3 or 4 times, and they had 50% of chances inside the goal. So
Yeah.
it doesn't happen a lot, but against Sporting, it did happen. So yeah, I would blame Jefferson for that one, and then after that, it's a domino effect. Mathieu is to blame too. He didn't mark his player real well, but don't forget people. They're running around and stuff like that, and he just lost them. I think in the middle of the box. That's all.
Yeah, fair. And then of course, with Jefferson letting the left wing go, I guess in Mathieu's process was either to block the cross or stop the guy from crossing it in or to stay back. I think he was sort of lost in two minds. That's why the forward sort of slipped in easier.
Exactly.
Patrick, our first penalty, a bit of controversy. There may not be contact on Bas Dost's trailing leg. How did you see that? What do you think about it?
Well, there's one angle that's from behind Dost. It certainly looks like the defender that comes across clips Dost, and Dost reacts to that promptly and falls to the floor. It's obviously a soft penalty, but in those sorts of positions, if the contact exists and the officials verify that, then it's a penalty, and that's exactly what happened in that moment in time. There's probably other shouts for a penalty that were perhaps clearer and weren't given further on in the game.
Yeah.
But we'd have to go with the referee on this one. And I think there is contact. It's difficult to see as well. It's one of those. I don't think the replays are quite sufficient for me, at least, to be certain. But I think there is a clip there, and then it's just a matter of putting yourself in the player's shoes. Is that clip enough to take you down like it did to Dost? Perhaps it is, perhaps it isn't. But I think there is contact there. Yes.
Yeah, I actually agree. Seeing that angle that you were talking about from the back, it does seem as if the Nacional player coming across Bas Dost does get his knee onto Bas Dost's trailing foot. Steph, I'll throw this one off to you because it is a controversial one. Do you think Nacional player clips Bas Dost there or not?
Without a doubt, and and players from every team, they need to realize that now there's a VAR. I think that play back in the days would have gone unnoticed, but now there's the VAR. These guys now, it was Hugo Miguel, and I think he has two assistants.
Yeah.
So are you kidding me? You still think you're gonna get away with it? Come on! I mean, try to beat him because you did beat him. Don't try to push him in the back or clip him with your knee or whatever, because they will catch it now. And if they don't, shame on them, because a lot of players, they don't catch it still.
Yeah.
In the same way as we see it at home. And that's all I gotta say. Yeah, it was a PK. And if benfiquistas or portistas or do nacionalistas or o gajo que os partam, if they want to be mad at somebody, be mad at the defender from Nacional. And that's all I gotta say. Be mad at the player from Nacional. He's the one who committed the foul and created a PK. Puta que pariu. That's it.
Agreed. And to be honest, I still think there's more contact in this one than a certain dive that took place over the weekend. Anyways, second goal after to tie the game up, Jovan Cabral with a beautiful ball through to Bas Dost. Some claims that the line is a bit behind because Bas Dost is sort of leading with his body. Patrick, what are your thoughts on the second goal? Or even on top of that maybe claims of a foul on the goalie. What did you think?
In terms of the second goal?
Yeah,
Well, I think Dost is onside for the ball that's played through, and then I think the ball's there to be played, and Dost plays it. The goalie doesn't get enough behind his intervention to stop it. I don't think there's a foul there. I think it's a normal goal, really. Bruno Fernandes after comes sweeping in for the tapping. I don't see much wrong with it. I think the biggest talking point there was is Dost on or offside, and I think he seems to have timed his run just right and gone through on goal. So I think, in my opinion, I think it's valid.
Yeah, and I agree with you as well. Steph, I gave Patrick the first penalty. What are your thoughts on the second penalty? Actually, sorry. Before I even mention the penalty, of course, Mathieu, as mentioned earlier, banger of a free kick. Absolutely amazing. So credit to Monsieur Mathieu. But anyway, Steph, what are your thoughts on the second penalty? Is there a shove from behind? Is it a little soft? Did we get away with one? What are your thoughts, Steph?
Okay, so let's play the game of it was a soft touch. Let's play that game. So you admitting it was a touch?
Mm.
You just questioning if it was soft or hard. Am I right?
Well, yeah, I'm basically asking you questions that people have been saying. Yeah. So
no, I'm
right
saying,
now. Okay, I'll take the position.
I'm saying that's what they saying on Twitter.
Right.
Twitter and Facebook, whatever social media you use. Because how do we interact now in the 21st century? It's social media. Yeah. So why do we go to Twitter, Facebook? Most of the time now it's Twitter, Instagram, and so on. They're the most popular social media. Why? Because we want to see a reaction from people. We want to see, as much as we hate it, sometimes you want to see reaction from benfiquistas. You're dying to see it. Epá, deixa-me ver que aquele gajo vai dizer. That's why you jump on Twitter, because then it makes no sense to have a Twitter account. So you want to see the reaction of certain groups, of maybe a specific individual, maybe a specific website account. So then when you see that reaction, you react upon it. And I love these things because it's intriguing how people can be such dreamers and make up a lot of bullshit. Because then they say, aquilo foi penalty. Até mal tocou. And then I tell them on Twitter, então admitis que tocou. Tocou, mas não foi muito forte. Até mas tocou, não tocou. So if you're a referee, how the fuck do you know if you just touch him a little bit or if you touch him a lot? They see what they see in a fraction of a second. You see what I mean? So the player, when it happens, they see a shove. They don't see the intensity of the shove. They see the intention of the shove. And the intention, if you touch that player, then it's a penalty. Don't give me that bullshit of intensity. Não foi assim muito forte. It was the intention of him. It was to make him fall, not get to the ball, not to score against you. So therefore, it's a PK. And then the VAR confirmed it. You know, don't tell me que agora o Miguel é Sportingista. Don't give me that shit. You know, I mean, we could go back and get several games, and we can see that he's not. So anyway, yeah, it was a PK. And again, you want to be mad at somebody? Be mad at the Nacional defender. Again.
Agreed. And then, Miguel Luis makes a beautiful run, crosses it into Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes headers it. Goalie saves it. But, he hustles for the second ball and bangs it in. And that's really how we got the 5-2. Patrick, simple question. Are we deserved winners?
Yeah, definitely. I think on the balance of things, Nacional had a very promising 30 minutes, and they stuck to the way that they were playing in those opening moments as well throughout much of the encounter, which is admirable to see. I think a lot of the times we see teams come up against a bigger size and just park the bus essentially and hope to grind out a draw or a 1-0 win or whatever. But Nacional, whether they were 2-0 up or drawing 2-2, they generally try to play the same way and come for us, which was, I appreciate that. Obviously, Sporting were able to pick holes at the other end, but on the balance of things, I think Sporting certainly were the better side and deserved the victory one way or another. Whether it was a 5-2 game or not, I don't know. You could always say that on the basis that Nacional played so well, they perhaps didn't deserve to lose 5-2. But then again, if you flip that and had Sporting missed, let's say, 2 very good opportunities, then essentially you say Sporting were unlucky not to win 5-2 as well. So I think whatever you get given is what you deserve, and what we got was 5 goals, so we'll take that. We deserve that, and as I said, on the scale of things, I think Sporting were the better side, and they got what they deserved, which was a 5-2 win.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Steph. Before we go into the modalities and some of the predictions and the Twitter questions, we had a General Assembly take place over the weekend. Basically, give you a rundown of what happened and your thoughts on that.
Well, it's easy to in a nutshell. They had two of the people being the elections were to suspend 2 people, and to kick them out 2, and then 6 were being suspended. Correct. Then of course the biggest name was Bruno Carvalho. Yeah. So they wanted to. He was suspended by the Comissão, a Comissão do Sporting, which was under Sousa Sintra. They decided to suspend him for 1 year, and then the sócios. So in English, sócios would be translated to fans, but not really. Fans paying dues.
It's more it's more like partners sort of thing.
Yeah. It's not really partners. Como é que é, Patrick?
Members.
Fan base, yeah. Yeah, fan base paying dues. They and we have and I'm going to say it this way, and this is the only time I'll criticize Sporting. We have a bullshit system. So if you've been associate Sporting for 20 years, your vote counts like, I don't know the exact number, but for 18 votes. To me, that's bullshit, because, and then it's only good for the majority of the Portuguese that went to that assembly were from Lisbon or arredores, or people living around Lisbon. So I'm only talking about Portugal. I'm not even talking about us in the United States, in the UK and Canada, because o João, o Pedro e o Zé são do Norte, eles são do Porto. They couldn't go to the Assembly Geral. Why? Because it's expensive. It's time consuming. It's not doable. I mean, how many Assembly Gerais have we had lately? Imagine if they had to go all the time. It would cost a lot of money. So the opinion given by 4,000 associados, it's not the opinion of the vast majority. I don't think Bruno Carvalho deserved that. Okay, they judging him for the last 6 months, not the last 5 years, and being suspended for 1 year for what? Because they blaming him for the academy. Nothing has been proven, So it was too harsh. I didn't like it. I voted for Bruno Carvalho. The second term, because the first term I was not still associated to Sporting, and I didn't like what happened. I was a supporter of Bruno Carvalho, but then my Sporting comes first than anybody. So I was willing, and I am, and I did move on, because that's the way we should be. You support a club, your club. You don't support individuals. Again, and I've said it again, even if some followers don't like to listen to this, if they don't agree with me, that's fine. That's what we call it, a democracy. But I don't. I like to move on. It happened. I support Sporting Portugal. I don't support any individuals. Me, I would have preferred that os associados de Lisboa, because let's be realistic, they were only from Lisboa, maybe a couple from the north, but not a vast majority. They voted to kick him out, and I was and I will be always against that. I don't think he deserved that. He did a lot of good for Sporting Clube Portugal. Bruno Carvalho didn't deserve that. I don't know what they're afraid of. You know, why suspend him for a year? I have no clue. And then everybody else that also went up for the mercy at the associates, they all got the 6 got suspended and 2 got kicked out of the club. Elsa Judas got kicked out, and Trindade, he got kicked out of the club, meaning that that's it. They done with Sporting, and then the other 6 got suspended. With that said, basically they still have cases going on. They could go to the Tribunal Europeu, and if they cancel the destitution of the 23rd of June, all of this could go back again, but it wouldn't be good for Sporting. It would put us in a big dark spiral, dark hole. So, and we're regaining our momentum. We're regaining our composure. So, Assembleia Geral acabou. Let the dust settle down. But now you could see that our Sporting is very divided. You basically have 2 groups, like very extremist on one side, very extremist on one side, and then you have a middle group like us that we're stuck in between. That all we want is the best for our Sporting Clube Portugal, porque somos Sportingistas, and we want our club to move on, and we're not interested in like these dark ages politics that makes no sense to me. I mean, I do sympathize with BDC, but I know when to let go of it. There's no need of going in depth, and we could go hours talking about this, but there's fans that actually stick with Bruno Carvalho forever and ever until he dies, and I guess that's on them. And there's other ones that will defend, you know, on their own way, the opposition of Bruno Carvalho. Me personally, I think you should just take a deep breath, apoia o Sporting Clube Portugal, vai para a frente, and but this also was a perfect opportunity for Varandas to say, não é preciso eleições, não vamos suspender ninguém, fica tudo como está. You could have done that too.
Yeah, maybe wait more for.
That would have been put the Sportingistas together. He had a golden opportunity.
I think so too.
Por dar um murro na mesa e dizer assim: vamos acabar com esta merda, não é preciso nada disto. Fica assim, Bruno Carvalho é sócio de Sporting, a Elsa, toda a gente que se lixe, está tudo fixe. But I don't know why he didn't do that. Maybe he was getting pressure from different people, groups. Groups. Yeah, that's what I would have done, me personally, and that's it.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. And well said, Steph. I think we can leave it there. Quickly, we'll go on to Twitter questions before Steph hits us with the modalidades, and then predictions, and then we'll call it a podcast. Just the 2 questions. One of them we sort of already answered, but John Lyon on Twitter. It's John O. Lyon. He asks, "What's your opinion on Miguel Luis?" As we said throughout the podcast, we think he's a very talented player and could be a solution for our current injury crisis. Can any other kid come and have the opportunity before going to the market? Yeah, like we mentioned throughout the podcast, we think Bruno Page is a nice fit with Miguel Luis. I personally loved Bruno Page playing against Vorskla. Really good on the ball, good passing ability, good attacking presence. Patrick, I'll ask this next question to you. It comes from Lex_Portugal on Twitter. Do you think we have to buy players for the defense? He's thinking more about now squad depth with Europa League and the league. So what do you think? Do you think a player or two is needed in defense?
Well, if we go left to right, I think Acuna is a very solid player. I think we can afford to give him a bit of time to adjust, the right levels of aggression and how to be smart with things at the back. But I think he's a player who covers us pretty well in that left back spot. Perhaps we could use an appropriate backup for him. Should he ever be out like he was this weekend, I think a lot of us wouldn't mind seeing the back of Jefferson in January, and we're not really sure what's going on with Lamort either, who is a player, in my opinion, who whenever he's come in, he's not done too badly. To be a backup left back, he doesn't look too bad, but obviously, there's a number of managers now that don't seem to fancy him, and perhaps Sporting should be looking at someone who is a better fit to cover for someone like Acuna whenever he's not available. I think in the middle, I think we're okay. I think once Coates recovers his form, Mathieu's picking up his, we'll have a very solid duo again. The right backs, perhaps both of them look like backups rather than starters. So, as I said, we could perhaps let one go and see how Thierry Correa does and how he evolves in the first team, or we could go into the market and look for one ourselves. I think perhaps the flanks, the fullbacks they're our weakness. So if there's an area to improve upon in defence, I think that those are the two areas to look at. But I don't think we need much anyway. I think our defence, with time, it will begin to gel together under the new manager and pick up his ways and solidify itself.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. All right, Steph, no more Twitter questions. We just actually had a mention from Zé Pereira, actually. Currently, usually listens, but today he's not. He says he's off to a movie after work to watch They Shall Not Grow Old documentary. So, Zé, if you're listening to this later on, I hope it's a sick movie, man. If it is, let me know, and I'll probably watch it later on, too. Steph, modalidades, if you may, please.
Yes, of course. Really fast, Frederic Varandas also had our president a great interview on the Sporting TV, which was because he's been in as the president for 100 days. So if you guys have the time to read it, you can go to the major Portuguese papers. They actually did a pretty good job. I don't usually follow their newspapers, but this time they were okay. I'm not going to say they were excellent because they're always biased when it comes to Sporting. But Record a Bola, they did a pretty good job. And o Jornal Sporting also did a pretty good job. So some great questions. He was put on the spot. So check out the interview. I'm not going to read the whole interview because it would take a couple hours. But some good stuff. He talks about some replacing the turf on the academy, which it's been there for 15 years. He talks about the female team. He talks about some more female team modalidades that will come up next year in handball and so on. So some really good stuff. It looks like he's going to really, really concentrate and put all his effort into the youth in the academy again, like we've known across the world. When they talk about the Formação, the youth, they usually talk about who? Ajax or Sporting Portugal. So he wants that brand name to go deep into the four corners of the world. And also, last but not least, he promised that by next year we will have electronic voting. So that's good. Maybe I'll be able to go to a filial to Sporting La dos Leões in Newark. It's a little bit of a hike. It's a couple hours for me. But I would make the effort to drive all the way down there and vote if they have it electronically. So we'll see how it's going to play out. If it's going to be maybe online. I mean, I don't see why not they couldn't do it online if you have cartão sócio and you have your unique number, your date of birth. why couldn't you do it from home? That would be great. So we'll see. He promised that. A ver se ele cumpre com as promessas. And now, without any further delay, so let's talk about the modalidades. Our juniors, for the first time in our history, we lost against Cova da Piedade, 1-0. So the coach is Venancio. He's not doing a great job with the junior team, with the under-19, and he's been highly criticized about that. I don't think he's going to last too long. The juvenis, they golearam o Loures 6-0. Then we had Iniciados. They won against Cova da Piedade away 2-1. Very important game because Cova da Piedade was in first place, and we regained the first place in the second phase of the U15 Iniciados. Then we had there's a whole bunch of then we had the football feminino. Our ladies, they went to A dos Francos, and we won 4-0. Goals from Ana Capeta twice. Then our center back, Nevena Demjanovic, scored 1 goal. And our Solange Carvalhas, she's very active on Twitter, she scored the last goal. So we're still trailing behind Sporting Braga by 5 points. But we redeemed ourselves from the last defeat against Braga. Then our B team, they won 21-0 against CP Pego. That's an amazing score line. Our ladies junior team, they won 1-0 against CF Benfica. It's not the Sporting Lisboa, it's the Casa Benfica, so it's different. Juvenis ladies, they won 12-0 against Atlético Malveira. And then Infantis, they lost 5-0. But you know, they still in a small little steps. Futsal, we went to Belém and we won 6-1. Amazing game. I watched it on TV. Very entertaining game. I don't know if you guys saw the goal from Eric.
Yeah, it was a banger.
Oh my God!
What a banger!
They were just talking about it on the chat.
I noticed that too.
Yeah. So, and thank you for listening, guys, on the chat. I appreciate that, and for interacting with us. We appreciate that very much, and I would like to see you guys as a guest in our podcast. But you know, the goals were scored by Alex Cardinal, João Matos, João Marques, Diego Cavinato, and Eric Mendoza. So we're still in second place, but as you know, that's a playoff. So once we finish the regular season, then we're going to the playoffs. So it's not a big deal to be in second place, even though us Portuguese, we always like to be in first place, of course. So then our ladies in futsal, we lost in penalties. 7-6 against Santa Lucia for the 4th round of the Taça Portugal. So bad news, we out of it. Handball, we won 38-24 against Boa Hora. A great game, and I don't know if you guys noticed it, but he was playing for free on the Record. Did you guys notice that?
No, I didn't notice that.
You have to. Sometimes you have to surf around and you'll be like, oh, fuck. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, the game is for free on Record. And it said Sporting TV. I think it's some kind of a nice gesture from Sporting for the Christmas season. And
fair.
Yeah, and they let it play on Record and the whole game. And I watched Boa Hora Sporting, you know, or Sporting da Horta for free. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. I loved it. Because here in the US to get those kind of games, it's extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's tough here too, man. Fuck.
Yeah. And then OK Patins, we won 6-3 against Juventude Viana. And again, this game was for free on Viana TV on YouTube. It wasn't the greatest stream, but it was still a good game to watch. Juventude Viana, they were up 1.32, then we tied 3-3 or vice versa, and then we end up scoring 3 goals like in the last 5 minutes of the game. But what a crazy game, tough game. So, but well done by Campeão Nacional, Sporting Portugal. We won. We're still in first place, 3 points ahead. or Benfica. Essa merda. So good. Then volleyball, we won against Cristal de Maia. 3 sets to nothing. 25-17, 25-17, 25-16, and 25-20. So good by our guys. And we still in first place as well. Volleyball ladies, we won 3-0 against Santo Tirso for the Portuguese Cup. And then the next day we played against them again when a tougher game. We still won 3-2 for the 14th round of the Portuguese Championship of the second division. They're still in the second division. They're working their way up. They were champions of Portugal in the third division. They went up to the second division. They got promoted. And this year, they're looking good to move up to the first division. Judo, we became champions of Europe. So congratulations to our judo team. By clubs, campeões europeus. So they gave us another European title. Then we became champion of rugby, our ladies. They won against the Spanish team, Iberica Cup number 2. We won that. And they won 26-8 against Olímpico de Pozuelo from Madrid, Taça Ibérica. So that's another international title for our ladies. And last but not least, our Denise de Mesa, they won 4-0. The guys and the ladies. And that's all I got for you guys. It was a long list, but you can check them all out at Sporting.pt. It's all in there. That's it, Denny.
All right. Thank you very much, Steph. And shout out to all of the modalidades of Sporting. Last to finish off the podcast, I was debating on whether we should do Rio Ave predictions. My only thing with Rio Ave is because it's Taça Portugal, I don't think we don't necessarily know how Kaiser's going to approach it, whether he'll rotate the team a lot, whether he'll start our best players. So I think it's best we leave it off and predict the Guimarães game. But quick note on Rio Ave. I'm not too sure about in the UK. I'm assuming so, actually. RTP Internacional should be, international. So if you have RTP Internacional, the game will be playing on there. So to all of my Canadians with a Rogers box or a Bell box, and to everybody in the States and the UK, however you guys get your television, you guys don't have to find the stream. You will get the game there, apparently, at least. And yeah, Guimarães, Coates won't play due to a yellow card accumulation. But Patrick, it's going to be an important weekend for all the big three. Benfica goes to or Benfica receives Braga. I'm actually not too sure. Do you know, Steph, if they receive or go there?
Hey,
it's at Benfica.
Yeah.
Oh, it's at Benfica. Okay, so Benfica receive Braga, and then Porto go to Vila de Conde in Rio Ave. So what's your predictions for Guimarães, basically, Patrick?
It's a tricky one because also Guimarães are a very good team and playing some decent football under a decent manager. Away from home as well. It's never been too easy for Sporting. Stadium like that. I think if Sporting gets something out of it, most likely it'll be a tight one. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
2-1. Steph, how about you?
I think it's going to be like a 4-2 win. But I'm going to give my prediction for Rio Ave. Even you said you don't want to. I still will.
Go ahead.
I think against Rio Ave will be 3-0. And 4-2 in Guimarães. I don't know.
4-2 in Guimarães.
Acuna will be playing, right?
For sure, yeah. He's back from his suspension.
So the only
just
one
no Coates.
No Coates.
And doing good. And then, everything else should remain the same, barring an injury on Wednesday against Rio Ave. So,
there's one thing that I wanted to ask you, and I'll ask the question this time. What's going on? What's going on with Lumor?
I haven't received any news on him, to be honest, so I have no idea.
That's something that's puzzling me. What happened to that guy?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Kaiser hasn't fancied him much. I mean, Peseiro didn't either. I don't know if it's one of the things that Kaiser doesn't want to maybe push Lumor seeing as he hasn't played too much this year. So maybe he's just going with Jefferson because he's more of an experienced player. And typically Jefferson only plays when he has to. Under Kaiser, at least it's been like that. So yeah, I'm not too sure. I really like Lumor. So if he's not going to get any burn, I hope that they loan him out, whether that's back to Portimonense, to another team in Portugal, to a different league. I really hope they loan him out to playing some top flight football. Really.
Just really quick, o senhor José Costa, he said 5 Rio Ave, 5 Guimarães.
Also, Hugo Barbosa also says Guimarães 3, Sporting 8.
Oh, this, what is this? Tennis mesa?
Kaiser, that wouldn't surprise me. Anyways, to end off the podcast, I'm gonna go with a 4-1 win. Definitely will be goals. Anyways, guys.
Did you see the one? Did you see the one from the real? Epá, não consigo dizer o nome. The real Alpha Frekinski. Is it that?
I think Alpha Kirkinski.
He said 15-0, 15-0. Epá, I love my people.
Anyways, guys, thanks for interacting with us. Thanks for listening yet again. Patrick, Steph, as always, thanks for being on the podcast. Yeah, guys, if you haven't followed the new Twitter page, please do. It's Sporting160_EN. This is Rui Chaves. Pois é, Rui Chaves Twitter. Shout out Rui Chaves. Shout out Hugo Barbosa. Shout out José Costa Jorge. Our Aussie Tuga. José, for sure. For sure. And everybody else that's going to listen to this later on and been in and out of the podcast today.
Virgil Teixeira.
Sure, Virgil. Shout out to all of you guys. Thank you for joining us for another great podcast. We'll be back next week. And yeah, good day, mate, from Australia. And Viva Sporting, guys.
And much love to our followers. Thank you so much.